The descendants of Black America are not said to be descendants of South Africa. So why are we trying so hard to identify with their culture? Because most of the Black community has not been to Africa, it's very easy for Hollywood and the elites to create the depiction of the African culture that we're supposed to get accustomed to. So for the majority, it's either the culture of South Africa, Ghana, Nigeria, or it's Egypt. Mind you, that none of those countries claim us as their kin, nor do their people tell stories about how a majority of their people were stolen from their land over 500 years ago. This is just a promotion of false culture that deceives us and keeps us from understanding our true heritage. The only fact that the Black community knows for sure is that our history and knowledge of where we come from was taken from us. When we blindly grab onto culture that we do not know if we're actually descendants of, we can become dangerously deceived and practice rituals and customs that are to our detriment. What if none of the culture that we are claiming to be a part of has anything to do with our true culture? Now, I know that Black Panther is nowhere close to the first perpetrators of this lie, but based on how the Black community is acting, literally wearing dashikis to a movie premiere because it's about a Black nation in Africa, just highlights just how mind-controlled we are and desperate for an identity, that we follow anyone or anything that seems to give us power and identity. Away from the action and special effects in the movie, there was a big promotion of the culture of the Wakandans. This is one of the main undertones of the movie that must be understood. Remember, Coogler said they were making a film about what it means to be African. A big part of some African culture consists of paganism, the worship of many gods, and witchcraft. This was not ignored in this movie, but highlighted and emphasized. A majority of the first hour of the movie was surrounded by Wakandan culture. It displayed the practices of juju, which is simply a spiritual belief system incorporating objects such as amulets and spells used in religious practice as part of witchcraft in West Africa. This was done specifically when the king becomes Black Panther. There was ancestral worship, like when the king's mother, Ramonda, played by Angela Bassett, called upon the ancestors for their help bringing back her son.
I call upon the ancestors. I call upon past.
She even says she communed with her dead husband often.
Your father and I will talk about this day all the time. Please with us.
This is a known form of witchcraft in which many cultures, not just African, partake in. There's the animal and shape-shifting spirits that is the main part of the movie. Anytime the king transformed into the Black Panther, he would shapeshift into the panther. This again is a form of witchcraft. And there was also the necromancy, which is the practice of communicating with the dead, especially in order to predict the future. The Black Panther did this multiple times, was speaking to his dead father about how he would rule as king and what he should do.
The time has come for you to come home. I cannot stay here with you. I cannot rest where he sits on the throne. He is a monster of our own making. I must take the mantle back. I must right these wrongs.
All these practices are specifically expressed against in Scripture, and when they are done by his children, it provokes the Lord to anger. This is specifically stated in Deuteronomy chapter 18, verses 9 through 11, and 2 Chronicles chapter 33, when speaking about Manasseh. These practices are all a form of witchcraft. If you just do some basic research on Marvel Wiki, it gives background on everything Marvel. It brings clarity on the Black Panther. The potion that the Black Panther drinks to get the Black Panther power, the one Eric Killmonger, played by Michael B. Jordan, ordered to be burned, was called the heart-shaped herb. And according to Marvel, it was a gift from the Panther god, the deity they worshipped. What they don't say in the movie is that the Black Panther, King T'Challa, is actually the leader of the Black Panther cult. The Black Panther cult is the actual religion of the Wakandans. The Wakandans have ties to the ancient gods of Africa that were also worshipped in Egypt. They were claimed to be ancient beings who visited the earth millennia ago, very similar to what we know today as the Anunnaki. This is always the lie that is told, because it always goes back to Baal or Satan worship. This movie is full of witchcraft practices. It is a ploy of using the Black community's desire for a represented culture to push them into acceptance of black magic and witchcraft. pushing the lie that these practices are from our heritage and witchcraft should be accepted as normal. They are promoting darkness as light, and the masses, particularly Christians, are accepting it because so many are desperate to claim a culture. They take on rituals and culture that is actually demonic and satanic, but ignore it because it's put under the general label of African. They replace the God we serve through the mass marketing of a film that they have presented to us as a gift to bring out black strength, representation, and unity. It's ridiculous.